Hey there, Sir Ewan here. Welcome to the first video lesson for technical writing. If you're watching this video, um, we are either away or there has been an emergency of which we were not able to meet. So, let's get started. Now, for technical writing, we usually write about very specific subject matter, usually in sciences or a certain process where we need to give information. And so, with technical writing, it is assumed that we are giving information regarding certain subject matter in science or certain process of which in another person or another group of individuals will need to follow. Now, before we discuss what technical writing is about, let us discuss first the five basic types of writing. So we have five. We have technical writing, creative writing, expressive, expository, and persuasive writing. With technical writing, the main purpose and focus is to convey specific information about certain specific technical topics, like I said earlier, about sciences or processes of which um, groups of people are supposed to follow. And then we have creative writing, of which um, consists of write-ups where um, you need to be very imaginative, very creative. Like for example, works of fiction, poems, short stories, plays, and novels. Expressive writing, of which is very personal and is very subjective, like in the case of journals, diaries, autobiographies. We have expository from the word itself, expose, meaning exposing a topic. Um, the focus is to objectively and analytically tell a particular story or event that has happened. For example, with news reports. And then we have persuasive writing, of which is, um, yeah, it focuses on the emotional appeal, um, either to sway another person's attitude or motivate the other person to certain action. Like for example, with reviews in Shopee and Lazada. And so usually before we buy something in Shopee or Lazada, we first would look at the reviews of certain products if they are worth our hard-earned money. Right? So, before we discuss any further about technical writing, let's first discuss the differences between technical writing and creative writing. For this example, we'll only focus on technical writing and creative writing as they directly are the because they are the direct opposites of each other. So, for content, technical writing needs to be very factual, needs to be straightforward, needs to be very informative. With creative writing, it's the opposite, as creative writing is a work of fiction, very imaginative. It uses metaphorical or symbolic elements. With technical writing for audience, we are writing for a specific type of people. So they may be students, other professionals, and whatnot. For creative writing, it's very general. We can write about anything for anyone. So, for example, with creative writing, if you are going to write a poem about love, then it is designed to be read by everybody. However, for technical writing, if I am writing a laboratory manual, then it is only um, specific for a target audience, may it be for students or people who are using the laboratory. For technical writing, we are to inform, to persuade. However, I would like to asterisk persuade here as it is not the primary focus of technical writing. Although, yes, when you are giving information or instructing, you are somehow persuading another person to do something. For creative writing, it is designed to be um, to entertain other people, to provoke emotions, to captivate imagination and desire. For the style of technical writing, we have with technical writing, it's very formal, it's very standard, it is very academic. With creative writing, it is very informal, very figurative. With technical writing, it's very objective. Creative writing is very subjective, as you're going to sometimes write about a particular topic based on your experience or based on your imagination. With technical writing for vocabulary or lexical dictionary, it is highly specialized. For creative writing, it's very general, it's very evocative. Now, going back, if when we are saying technical writing is highly specialized, the words or expressions that you're going to use are very um, related to the subject matter that you're going to convey, or is easier for the target audience to understand. And lastly, technical writing, it is systematic. With creative writing, it's very arbitrary, very artistic, very personal. Now, focusing on technical writing, according to Mills and Wilter, um, they gave at least four um, definitions to help us understand what technical writing is about. Now, technical writing, according to Mills and Wilter, is a writing that writes about subjective subjects and various technical subjects associated with sciences or with um, with programs or courses. It is characterized by certain formal elements such as scientific and technical vocabulary, graphic aids, use of conventional report forms. For example, with textbooks, textbooks utilize various elements like pictures, um, pie charts, graphical aids, especially for, let's say, um, for activities or tests in a textbook. Another would be for reports. Thirdly, it is characterized by the maintenance of an attitude of impartiality and objectivity. Um, Lastly, technical writing is a write-up in which there is a relatively high concentration of complex and important writing techniques, in particular, description of mechanism, process, definition, classification, and interpretation. Now, for most of you, for students, technical writing may just be a requirement to pass an assignment. And so, for example, if the teacher or the professor would give you an activity, let's say a report, you will need to create a visual aid, of which you would need to utilize certain elements like um, pictures, tables, and whatnot. But for professionals, it may be um, a requirement to fulfill a task. So this is important to remember, as when you graduate, you'll be utilizing technical writing quite a lot. Since you are in the allied health, you would be writing reports, you'd be writing certain findings. You'll be writing, if you are working in a laboratory, you'll be writing um, something related to laboratory work, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's continue. Let's move forward. Now, purpose of technical writing, it is as it is very objective. It gives information. It also um, serves as basis a resource of information for management decisions. Like for example, if you are inventorying laboratory equipment, then the laboratory head technician will need to check if everything is in place. It records business transactions through proposals. It procures business proposals. It is one of the bases for public relation and also provides report for stockholders. Let's say, for example, in a school, stockholders would require a particular document. So, let's say, for example, with students, when you went and enrolled yourself in the Doctor's College, you are presented with a printout of your subjects as well as the breakdown of your enrollment fee. Now, properties of technical writing of which you need to consider. We have one, the subject matter, the audience, the expression, the style, and lastly, the arrangement of materials and elements. Now, subject matter. Technical writing needs to consider the subject matter. If you're writing a very technical or a very scientific subject matter, you will need to write something about, you will need to use words, expressions, terminologies that are related to the subject matter. For audience, you need to consider the audience who is going to read your technical write up. What will be the nature of the audience? Are they going to cooperate or do an activity with your write up? Is it going to be engaging? The expressions. Are you going to use um, very highfalutin words, certain terminologies that may or may not be outside of the subject matter? The style, are you going to write something like a dictionary? Are you going to write a manual? Are you going to write a textbook for that particular matter? Arrangement of materials or elements. Now, I couldn't stress this a lot, as with technical writing, it is very objective, highly informative. You will need to arrange the information accordingly. So, for example, one of the cases would be when you're writing your research papers, especially with the background of the study or with the um, review of related literature. Usually, with the background of the study, we need to arrange them in a certain way. So, one of the arrangements would be from general to specific, from international to local. And so, once you're able to arrange your background of study in that particular sense, either of the two mentioned, then it is easier for anyone to understand your background of study. If you're not able to arrange your background of study properly or well, chances are your research advisor would ask you or would tell you they were not able to understand your background or study, and so they would ask you, what are you going to research about? With the case of the RRL, or review of related literature, um, it is also like the background study. You need to arrange the information properly as well. Dili kay magbutang lang ka o kaning um, information. So uh, usually I think it also happens to I think it happens to everyone, where with the review of related literature we just put whatever information that is related to the topic or to our main question. um, like I said, you need to arrange also your RL. How would you arrange it? Well, you can arrange it from general to specific, from international to local. Also, you can arrange it by um, subject matter related to the uh, question. You can also use keywords from your title or definition of terms, so that it is easier for you to write and it's easier for everybody to understand. So those two things. Now, five important principles or tips in good technical writing. Always have in mind a specific reader, your audience. We assume that they are intelligent, however, they are uninformed, so you need to inform them by way of your technical write up. Also, before you start, always decide what the exact purpose of your report is about. Make sure that every paragraph or sentence or word makes clear and perfect sense. Use language or vocabulary that is simple, concrete, subject related, and somewhat familiar or very familiar. So you're going to mix common words and uncommon words together so that it's easier for you to understand, for the readers to understand. Also, the beginning and end of your write-up. Um, Also, this happens a lot with technical writing. There's a particular, I wouldn't say a disclaimer, but let's say a note from the author. You need to tell the the audience or the target audience the nature, purpose, and how many iterations your write-up has gone through. Also, make your report or your technical writing attractive by using other elements like pictures, um, tables, graphical art, activities. Make it very engaging. This is why with your textbooks, when you were in high school, if you remember, they usually have pictures and activities at the same time. So, for example, with English textbooks, usually there's a story and there's an accompanying picture so that you may be able to imagine um, the story. Also, aside from the story and the picture, you are also informed about what particular lesson that particular topic is talking about. So, for example, with nouns, definition of nouns, and then there's an activity, there's a story, you know, those kind of things. Now, products of technical writing, I won't be delving on this too much. You can browse this on your own via the PowerPoint presentation available on this particular lesson in Quipper. So we have here business letters, contracts, you name it, it's here. Also brochures, like for example, whenever Quipper visits the campus, especially for certain events like intramurals and whatnot. Usually they have a pop-up booth of which you can approach, ask information, or they will give you a brochure of the app or the LMS learning management system that we are currently using. Now, we have come to our um, the end of the presentation. And so for this one, I would need everybody to group yourselves in groups of 5 members. So the maximum number is 5 members. So that's 3 to 5 members per group. Now, you're going to write or you're going to create a blog. This will be also your group will be your group for prelim, midterm, pre-finals, and finals. So there are no changing of group members or groups whatsoever. And so if you have quarrels among the group, you will need to resolve it amongst yourselves. If you cannot resolve it amongst yourselves, then you can ask me to resolve it for you. So you're going to write a blog. For prelim, you're going to write something about time management. And so you will need to write something about time management strategies. And so since the topic is very broad, you can specify it to certain topics like study habits. If you are a working student, then you can talk about processes, how to manage your time as a working student, so on and so forth. Now, in your group, you have 5 group members. Each group member has a specific task. So you will need to distinguish who will be the writer, the contributor, um, the the one who will be posting your write-ups, the editor in chief, so on and so forth. Don't worry, I'll be sending prompts later on. Now, um, the platform that you're going to use is Wix.com. It is a free website creator. So you're going to create your own website. Once you have created your website, you can design your website to your heart's desire, to your heart's content, and then um, you will need to start writing about your blog. For everyone who is watching the video, the deadline is actually January 30. However, since we had an emergency, we will push it further to February um, February 4. So you need to submit your blog URL February 4, or rather 11:59 of February 4, so that by February 5, I will need to check your blog entries. Okay? Once I am done checking your blog entries, I will prompt you to post it on social media so that everyone will be able to read your blog. Excuse me for that. And so there's only one pressure here. You need to write properly para dili maulawan. Everybody is going to read your blog. So with the website, with the blog, you can add pictures, you can add videos if you like. You can add with pictures. You can either download from the internet, or um, take a photo of one of your group members studying, for example, or managing their time whatsoever. So you can do that. Now, rubrics for this one. So we have 4: quality of content, participation and engagement, creativity, grammar, and spelling. Now it is 3 to 5. The lowest would be 1 point, and of course, the highest would be 5. Now, after scoring, I will multiply it by 2. And so the product will be your final score. So for example, you got 3, you multiply it by 2, that will be 6/10. Still passing. However, if, let's say, for example, sorry about that. Oops, sorry about that. If you are unable to submit your URL at the deadline, which is February 4, your group will only receive 2 points. So multiply it by 2, that is 4/10. Very low score. So you will need to write something properly and then submit the URL. Okay. Once that is done, and I was able to check your blog, you can share it to social media so that everybody will be able to see. I'll be giving you prompts so that you'll be guided with how to post it on social media and how to write your blogs properly. And that is the end of the lesson. I hope it was informative. I hope everybody was able to catch on to the lesson. If you have any questions, kindly let me know via Quipper message, via the email, or via the GC. Again, till next time, stay safe, and see you all in the classroom. Ciao.